I don't know what I'm doing, by the way.
Ever or just now?
Right. I have three studio goals that are up in my studio: evoke, innovate, and surprise. And how can you be open to surprise if you always know what you're doing? How can you innovate if you know exactly what you're going to do? Someone mentioned yesterday, why don't you do a self-portrait? So I think I will. Like a complete idiot, I have a room full of people, including some professional models that I could be using you for portraits, but I'm in the process of doing a lot of self-portraits in my studio. I think I'm up to 64, 65 self-portraits. And usually I do them, I start out working up with new pastel and hard pastels. Then I end up with Rocher portrait pastels. And then on the top of that I go soft pastels. Well, today all I have are soft pastels. So I'm in trouble.
You'll make it work.
Which is good. No, I want to be in trouble. That's where the art starts. It's when you lose control. And as a portrait, as a model, I work cheap and I'm always available. For some reason, I still have a short attention span. I don't know why. Someone brought a stand for me, and so I named it Pablo. Apparently yesterday was the anniversary of Picasso's death. And so I have hopefully, unless they decide they don't want it, I wrote an article for the Pastelogram, that's the magazine for the Pastel Society of America. That'll be out in July, hopefully with some of my paintings. And I say a little something about this stand with Pablo Picasso. So I'll let you wait until July. I won't say anything more about it. And I hope when you read what I wrote, you'll get a chuckle out of it. Please get back to me on that. And I didn't know what I was doing. How many demos did I do at the workshop? 3. At least 3, I think. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's funny. I like it. So, I like that. Yeah, I like that. That's a huge challenge. Those of you that were in the workshop, I forgot to mention to you that you get all high on the fact that Casey gave you freedom. Then the day after the workshop, the doubt comes in. And I just want you to know to expect that doubt and ignore it. Keep free. You're still free. Oh, that's some weird lighting. And you can ask questions pretty much most of the time.
Are you using charcoal?
This is a large vine charcoal, as large as you can get, size of your thumb.
What type of paper?
Thank you. This is Sennelier Lacarte. No idea. Are you as nervous as me? What's he gonna do? I love it. Who's my favorite artist, you guys, from the workshop?
Matisse.
A guy named Andre Matisse, the best painter in France in the 20th century. And, I follow his method, which is he has no method. He never approaches the
In other words, you're done, right?
right. Could be. He never approached the canvas the same way, and he lived in terror, and he couldn't sleep at night.
Ever?
Right? No, he hasn't. He had definite trouble because he didn't want to approach the canvas the same time every time. And yet, unlike his friend Pablo Picasso, he was interested in painting from life. That's why I'm doing these. That's why I'm doing these self-portraits, so that I can paint from life. But I also, I would say 2 of my self-portraits out of the 65 that I've done now are from a photo that I took reversing the iPad, and that's all. And many of them are from a mirror. Many of them are from the sketch that I made when I was looking in the mirror, or the finished work. Some of them are from memory, some of them are from imagination. Some of them turn into other people. The name of one of my favorite ones is Self-Portrait as Another Person. That can be heard okay in the back? If I speak up, it helps.
Can we ask why you're doing?
What I'm doing?
Yeah. No, so many.
Oh, thank you. When I was young, age 4, I really took to drawing, and everybody starts drawing when they're 4, but I really went for it for hours and hours and hours a day. I worked from the figure, you know, Batman and Robin. And I became an adequate figure drawer and portrait drawer, and then by the time I was in high school, I had drawn well over 100,000 drawings. I'm certain it was much more than that. And got tired of rote behavior, and I started to elongate and make caricatures, etc. And but then when I became a professional artist, decided to be a professional artist, I had really only worked with the pencil. And so you see now that I had to work in color and do landscapes. You see why? Because I didn't know how to do it. So people know me as a colorist landscape guy, and then I go to workshops and they want me to do landscapes. But I decided that what's in my heart are portraits. And when I look at famous artists like Rembrandt or Van Gogh, I mean, weren't they portrait artists? It wasn't that the first thing they did. Didn't Matisse paint portraits and figures? And so I've returned to that. And I discovered that I was very rusty. I used to be able to, I would say when I was in 11th grade and 10th grade, I could draw a neck and a head and it looked just right. You know, the head sat on the neck and everything was believable. Shoulders were there. Now I realized I had forgotten how to make the neck believable. So I really studied that hard. And the same thing with ears. I had forgotten how to do an ear. So I had to go and study, and I study masters, how they do it. So that's why I'm doing frequency. If I do I don't have a goal number for portraits, but let's just say if the goal were 100 self-portraits, I will have learned again how to do ears, noses, necks. Does that make sense?
Okay, so talk about your color use here.
My color choices are arbitrary. How's it look? Oh, good. You've got a good picture of it. Yeah, good. I had my students get a big school chalk. Now I'm beginning to think about values and placement. Actually, I guess I'm thinking about the local color of my beard. You'll see me at the mall next year. I'll be Santa Claus. I don't really like where I just put those, which is fine. Does anybody know what this is?
Oil stick.
It's oil pastel. Stick, pardon me.
What do you do with it?
Do you know? I don't know. Oh my gosh, I've ruined it.
So when you cried blood, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm crying, but oh my gosh, I've ruined it. Maybe this is where the art can start. Maybe the art will begin. I don't like this bright color. I don't like the value of this. Let's take that back. Okay, I like the development of a story between blue and orange, violet and red. How many colors is that? 4. Oh, interesting. 4 colors. This is a set by Terry Ludwig, which is all neutrals. So you notice I haven't used much neutral yet. I never used this set all week at our workshop. So because I have it with me, I decided I might as well use it.
Arbitrary.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes, you know, when you have, I used to be a hiker and a climber, and you learn that don't bring that item in your backpack just because you own it. That's a mistake. Oh, so yeah, we're developing, yeah, this is developing into a scene. Okay, so since we're developing a image, let's crop it with black tape. Now, I never want to see blue tape. My students, I tell them in their workshop supply list, don't bring me blue tape, please. Because if you want to do colors from intuition, that blue tape will prejudice you. You'll wonder why everything is blue. So I choose black or white artist tape. And I want to be able to see my crop. Or I want to be able to crop down into an area that works and eliminate an area that doesn't work. What's the name of that guy in Star Trek that had glasses? Data? No. Geordi?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I don't want to be Geordi. But it's starting, isn't it? I see him. So I'm going to work against that. So really, I have quite a bit, well, I'm not going to do an hour, but I have quite a bit already developed. Oh, he looks a, you know what? He looks a little reserved. He looks like he's afraid of that crowd in Albuquerque.
I was going to say, I could see the likeness of it.
Yeah. I wonder when he's going to cut loose.
Oil pastel or resin?
Yeah. It's an awful mess. That's oil stick. That's oil paint. Oil paint. Sometimes I take the cap off a tube of oil paint and just start painting with it. Well, I don't like that yellow in there. Okay, so I'm going to, excuse me, Pablo. You know, one of my favorite quotes from Pablo Picasso was, I begin with an idea and then it becomes something else. Intuitive.
So
Intuitive.
This will become a landscape.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could change genres. Yeah, it could. Oh, look, I have a halo. Kind of like that. Oh, what is this? This is Dry Ground by Diane Townsend. It's a big pumice chunk. And it works fine as a preparatory ground on. You can use pastels on vellum paper. If you take this and scooch it on the paper and then spray it with a fixative, and now that vellum will actually work to hold pastel. It works great. Or a hot press paper.
What's it called?
It's called Dry Ground. It comes in tints or it comes in large black and large white. This is large white. And you go to her website, Diane Townsend. She makes these incredible terragé sticks. Oh, that is a beautiful stick. That stick's gotta go on my painting. Okay, maybe this is the cut loose. Okay, I like the ear. Not too sure about the halo. I'm also trying to get into a disunity. I want to have a disunity at first. Why? That's the way I feel today. So I don't like the light source, so that's fine, I don't need one. I'm glad there's a poor light source here because my buddy Andre Matisse said a painting should generate its own light. Okay, so we haven't resolved these eyes. Graphite. So how many mediums do I have? I have pastel, oil paint, dry ground, and graphite.
And chalk. And charcoal.
That was a tinted charcoal. I called it chalk, didn't I? Don't go blind. You know, stand back and look at your painting from a distance. So that, look at how that graphite
Glows.
Yeah,
Looks like
glows like a space alien. But so I want you to look at my painting and see what I intended.
looks like man from space.
I love that. Woo-hoo. That is cool. When I went to Italy when did I go? October. Who's been to Assisi? St. Francis of Assisi. Okay. And you go into the cathedral and you get to the front, you turn around and the apse left and the apse right. Now in the main cathedral you have all these frescoes by Giotto. And I mean, you have a lot of frescoes by Giotto. And they're telling the Bible stories. But then in the apse you have his teacher, whose name was Cimabue. I came back from Italy with a kitty cat. Can you believe it? I came back with a abandoned kitten in a crate from Rome and from Umbria. And I named him Cimabue. Because I believe that what I saw on that, it was an image of the crucifixion. And Cimabue's use of lead white on the, what kind of painting was a fresco. He used a lead white that was fugitive, and it turned black even within his lifetime. I think it was 2 or 3 years later. It had gone black. So it was a negative image. I believe I was looking at a miracle because it was so strong because of the change. And so that's why I'm just delighted to see that. I just had a Cimabue moment. So he was a late Gothic fellow, and then he was the guy that taught Giotto. Then you got your Renaissance people. I would love to paint a painting like Cimabue. I'll need a miracle though. This is a pastel I made from scratch. Green, light green, high intensity light green, high intensity light green. Okay, so I have started to think about color relationships. Okay, now I do want to start bringing it down to something that's more that is unified. What is unity anyway in a painting?
All parts working together.
There you go. Each part makes sense of every other part. You just described form, but it's very close to unity. Unity is each part makes sense of every other part. Form is each part working together. See the little difference? But I want them both. Look at that guy's eyes. Am I really that scary? Maybe ask my students from.
Really? It's okay after you put the wig away.
Looks like reflections off the glass.
Yeah, right.
I started with the glasses, and then now I haven't continued. I still have this line, this outline, and I've kept it as kind of a pendimente, you know, a remainder of the line. Pablo Picasso had a wife. Did you know that? Which wife do I want to name my workshop students? Francois Gillot. Francois Gillot said, what did she say? She said, don't prepare your painting and don't have a source, you know, work fast. Well, I have a source because I'm not her and I'm not Picasso. But I do want to work fast. I do want to maintain the energy in the painting. I like that. Okay, so let's see. I like this variegated area, and it's somewhat variegated here. I've lost that here, which is I don't know if I like that or not. I like the geometry established by where the glasses were going to go. There's a geometry here, so I need to start making some decisions, I guess. Let's do this. See if we can make some sense of the geometrics. I like the massive blue there, but I want to strengthen this. And I mean, when I'm up here, my face is looking out over the bottom of this iPad. Can you see that? I look like Kilroy was here.
Right.
And that's okay. But your design is the most important thing. Okay, so here he is. He's looking in an iPad. So So let's put the resource away because it's not going to help me anymore. Everything I want is here on the painting. Look, I've left some paper showing. This is the antique white color, which I like, even though it looks like a light yellow or a very light sand. I think this is the antique white. There is a close color to that called sand. So Lacarte comes in lots of colors: dark brown, black, dark gray, salmon, which is a red. It's a lovely paper, and I wish you would consider it. They don't send me any free paper.
Casey, would you tell them what you can do with Lacarte with the turpenoid?
That's right. So people are aware that that you don't want to put water on Lacarte because it ruins it, but you may use turpenoid in the brush. I don't do it very much anymore, though. I've sort of quit because it makes a lovely mess, but it impacts the paper so much. I have a lot of paintings that I've succeeded with that are on my slideshow that I show at the workshop, but for some reason I've moved away, and using this dry ground now becomes funner. Now, you're really not meant to use dry ground on sanded paper, but I do. I use it as a tool, as a drawing tool now, which I like. So I had just add a thought to the form. A little bit like a cartoon.
So
Leonardo did cartoons.
what is the dry ground doing exactly?
It's just making a mark, a white mark.
Okay.
But before, what it was doing was adding, it adds a ground. It's just like putting gesso on your paper, but it's just like that.
So
That
can-
easy.
Can you use it over, when you say fill the tooth, can you put that on top? and
Get the
add-
tooth all filled and feel like you can't work anymore with it. Now go over the top of it with dry ground and you're ready to go. Spray. I like to spray. I don't have a spray here that's going to work, so you won't see me spray. So if I can't spray, I'll do something different. I'll scrape.
The dry ground comes in different colors.
Pardon me? Yeah, they come in different colors. Yes, they do. So because I can't spray, I'll scrape.
What kind of spray?
Oh, what did I just do? What kind of a nutcase would do that? Go ahead.
What kind of spray do you use?
I like to use Blair low odor fixative because I can be in the studio. Spectrafix is okay too. Kind of don't like, oh, look at the surface. So now we're starting to develop a surface. Kind of don't like Spectrafix on Sennelier Lacarte because drops of water come out. So I have to be a little bit more careful. All right, I don't know if I'm going to continue with him being so Kilroy. Everybody knows what I mean when I say Kilroy. Kilroy was here. Remember his nose coming up over the fence. So one way to get rid of the Kilroy effect is to crop down. So where I put this crop is going to, by the way, I'm going to lose about 5% of my money now because I'm going to make the painting smaller. But the design is more important than anything else to me. If I touch the head will form an actual engineering structure. And it will be a very balanced structure, and the head will feel as if he's more stable in the image. But if I do it here, there's just a little bit of heat or friction created by that space, and so maybe that's just enough structure. Maybe there's a little bit more tension provided by that little bit of heat there. So I want to preserve that heat for now. So I started out saying I want to get rid of Kilroy, but now I want to keep that heat. I do like this neutral that I began with, but I don't feel that it's serving me. too dark. This is another neutral. Oh yeah, I like that. Every color you put on changes the whole painting, does it not? So I don't know how, I'm not a good enough artist to plan 2 steps ahead. Every color I put on changes the whole painting. And his expression is, it's just there, you know, and I have got to honor the expression that I see, whether I like it or not. Otherwise, I have to change the whole painting. And I feel like honoring that expression. Salvador Dali, ever heard of a guy named Salvador Dali? He said, honor your mistakes. Treat them as sacred. You believe stuff like this? I'm trying to prove it to you a little bit at a time. Okay, now I have a thought to value and I have a thought to the intensity of the color. So I have a dark value, somewhat lower intensity color. Okay, so the expression is maybe being driven by this smirk and this mustache. Now I don't really have to have a mustache in every painting. So let's consider. So I've done a lot of self-portraits where I have shaven face, but I don't really. People come on Facebook and Pinterest, did you shave your beard? And it was really fun this winter. I grew my hair out, which I usually don't do. But it was serving my paintings, and I enjoyed it. That's why I'm wearing my beard long now. It serves my paintings. My wife hates it. Okay, I don't like these lines here. If I continue to use blue, it's the cheap and easy way to unify things. Is to use a little bit of the same color throughout. What are the colors in this painting right now?
Blue, purplish, orange,
Blue, purple, orange,
that light greenish,
green,
and that bright red.
red. That's 5.
There's a touch of yellow at the top, isn't there?
Still has some yellow. 6.
Uh-oh.
Paper color.
And then your whitish that you used here, hummus.
I'm gonna try not to count neutrals and black and white because colors are so much stronger. Okay, so I have an even number. And I still have Chimabui's eyes. I like where they're positioned now. Now that I cropped the top of the head, I feel more correctly positioned. Believe it or not, I am still concerned about the drawing and the likeness. Okay, I think I can add some things by adding some neutrals and some values. Oh. Oh, I got it on both sides. That's all right. Good.
Your soft pastel goes over the oil pastel easily.
Yep. Over, under, big mess. You bet. Bill Creevy talks about it in his pastel book. Another nice tool I've learned to use this year is we talked about spray fixatives, we talked about Blair, talked about Spectrafix. Now I'm using, can you keep this news just in this room?
Hairspray.
Spray, yeah, that'd be okay. Spray acrylic varnish
Spray.
as a medium, as a working layer, not at the end, as a working layer. Well, I really like what's happening now with this green. Can you see the green on that? Yeah, it doesn't look as good up there as it does here. Okay, right here we're starting to get a story. since I like that story, I'm going to develop it with my, so here's an intermediate sized charcoal, fine charcoal. Let's start to, so I didn't like that line, but for some reason I like that line. Sometimes I tell myself, oh, my inner talk, choose this. So I say, okay, I'll choose the next thing, a different thing, or the opposite thing. Don't do that, okay, then I do. So that's the inner talk I have, because Klahn, anybody heard of a guy named Klahn? Yeah, he says, leave yourself open for surprise. And that's one of the ways that I do. I think maybe the fix to the structure might be to give it this line. So then this is trying to preserve that red for some reason. See how I've departed from the iPad? These are unifying lines.
Or horns.
Pardon me?
Or horns.
Or horns. Yeah, I did one with horns. I did Stalin with horns.
Really?
Yeah. Me as Stalin with horns. I did me as Rasputin. I went to Russia last year. And I saw Andre Matisse exhibit that was major. And I was the only guy there. I struck up a conversation with him. We had a heck of a time. He said to me, "You think I'm kidding, don't you?" He lived from 1869 to 1954, and he was the greatest artist of the 20th century, according to some people. Is art a communication?
Yeah.
I had a talk with Matisse, and he said to me that he had 3 studio goals. They are passion, color, and insouciance. What does that mean? That means, heck if I care. It's a French word for I don't care. Okay, I have this. I have eyes, ear, and nose. And I like the proportions are working now. And I have a linear story. I learned about writing novels. The way to write a good novel is create a conflict and then make it worse. Orange, blue, violet. I don't feel like getting rid of the yellow. Don't feel like getting rid of the green. Let's get rid of the red. But the red is still going to be useful because it will leave a toned color. Yeah. And we can use that color there. Didn't Tano have lines on his face?
Yes.
Thinking about that.
So how many colors do you want?
When my painting tells me, I'll let you know.
Pardon me, I don't care.
Yeah. So pink is part of the red. Oh, so pink is part of red, so let's avoid pink. And I have an orange, but I don't have a very bright orange. I don't have a very high intensity orange. What is intensity anyway? Somebody other than my students.
What is intensity?
What is intensity in art? As a tool.
The vividness of the color.
The what of color?
Vividness.
Okay.
The strength,
Okay.
but is it in relation to what's next to it? The
Um,
thickness of the color that's next to it.
That's part of it, but not all of it, because this has intensity on its own, but also in comparison. So that's a good, who said that? Yeah, that, you're right, but it also has intensity on its own because it's been unadulterated by another color or by a value, or black and white. So the three properties of color, or what are the three properties of color?
Intensity.
I didn't hear value, someone said it? Yeah, hue, value, and intensity. Yeah. So I already have green. So let's develop this green. You know, I see, you know, one of the things I see in this painting is development. It's developing. So I kind of like that. It's developing in a dynamic manner. You're getting to know me, maybe. Oh, here's that color everybody loves so well. So, because I have chosen this dark eggplant color, which is in the purple, I need to use it to define my value story. All my dark values are here. My values here are not very well defined. I do have dark, mid, and light values though. And I like the bridges and I like the story the values are telling. They're coherent. And I like where they are. So if I put a dark value here, I might be treading dangerous waters. If I put it there, I'm going to lose that tension that I had. Oh, can't make a mistake with that. Don't like where that is. Get that back. So I'm advancing this dynamic story of these lines. Continuing with my, oh, I like that because I've added some dark. I turned the lights down in the painting. So I do like that. And I don't know what to do next. You're out there, you know. You're on the edge of your seats. In your back of your mind, you're thinking, he's got to do this next. Well, I'm glad you know what's going on. I sure don't.
I was just going to ask if you would repeat your three goals that you have
In my studio, I like, because Wolf Kahn likes drama, clarity, and contrast, and Henri Matisse likes passion, color, and insouciance. I like evoke, innovate, and surprise. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't really Matisse telling me passion, color, and insouciance. It was my interpretation of what his paintings were saying. I saw 33 master works by Matisse, including dance and music. Can you get a picture of those in your mind?
Yeah.
10 foot by 13 foot, and I saw them next to one another, which is the way you don't usually see them. 1910, monumental paintings, and just red figures on blue ground. What a knucklehead. Who told him he could do that? Good, I still have Chima's eyes, Chima Bui's eyes. I just love that. This is going to be a story I tell. Let's, okay, so I created drama, and let's make it worse. So now I'm thinking about a low intensity, still in the blue family, to highlight this area. And it's a middle value. This is a Sennelier blue. These things are just so awesome. So here's a low intensity, middle value Sennelier French ultramarine blue. It's got a little bit of the green phase in it. So this is really a middling blue. Yeah. So it's not a French ultramarine blue, as you were. It's a little bit of a green phase. Perhaps you'd call it cobalt. See, these are red. This is a red phase blue. This is a bit of red phase blue and a bit of turquoise, which is yellow phase blue. This is right down the middle. So I'm thinking about where my blues chart on a hypothetical wheel. This line is a dominant event, and it's controlling the whole. I already did what I wanted to do with that temporarily. Let's animate that line. Let's use a color I already have. Yellow. Yellow would be a terrible choice. Only an idiot would animate that line with yellow. See this hook line that was a red oil stick? That oil stick is R and F oil stick. They're the creamiest, most beautiful oil sticks. That set up a structural support that changed everything. That sort of prevents me now from, if you're a left-handed thinker and you thought I was leaving the page there, that helps to prevent me from leaving this way. But I like my linear design so far. I think the linear design is good. I think that not what's up there, but what's here, the eyes could be supported just a little by, I don't know by what, some kind of a darkening. I want them to have the right personality. I want them to, I'm very careful with the eyes. I use the pencil on the eyes quite a bit, graphite pencil. Oh, this is nice. So I think I mentioned something about texture, surface texture. The real good surface texture began when I took you go in the art store to the acrylic paint section, and you get these plastic scrapers. Or you could use a razor blade. Or you could use a palette knife. I couldn't get here with the razor blade, I don't know why. So I was just feeling a moment of surface, so I'm going to continue with the surface. I'm not worried about making mistakes. You know, pastel is an opaque medium. Why are we so worried about mistakes? Okay, so I have sort of equal proportions of bright or intense colors, do I not? Yellow, violet, orange, blue, 2 phases of blue, green. How many was that, please? Orange, violet, blue, yellow, green. Oh, 5. 5, which is an odd number, right? Oh. Let's continue this down, touch the head. Now I'm just, what am I doing for time? Because I'm just improving little
It's
things.
11:38.
That doesn't mean anything to me. How much time?
20.
Thank you. Oh, that's good. Good, I can resolve something. Okay, so in order to resolve it, if you don't mind, I'm going to go back there and look at it from the distance. And my booming voice will still have remarks. And please keep with your... Actually, I'll be done in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll have about 10 minutes of questions. I couldn't. Eyeballs. Glowing eyeballs. When you begin a painting, you have a blank canvas. You have, oh, Frida. A guy named, not Malevich, Kandinsky. Kandinsky said, there is no must in art, for art is free. Okay, do you believe that? Come on. There is no must in art, for art is free. But now that I'm almost done, I have a lot less freedom. You see how that works? I feel a symbol pattern. I feel geometry. I feel there's a metaphysical element brought on by the film and the glow off of the pencil. And when we're done with this performance art, that will never happen again.
You ever turn it upside down and look at it?
Yes. That's a great trick. So the green over here on the video image, I don't agree as much. It is nice to unify two green lamb chops on my beard and some green on my forehead and some green on my nose that's a little darker. Okay, that's unifying. But over here in reality, the green is not making me that happy. Oh, that's a high yellow, is it not? From back here it looks green. So I guess I need to yellowify that. So I want to be done in about 5 minutes. Please. Yellow's a hard color to work with. Edgar Degas. Has anybody heard of a guy named Edgar Degas? He's sort of the grand master of pastel. And he said, isn't yellow an awful color? But didn't Vincent van Gogh love his yellow? So I'm not happy with the yellow. Yellow is a particularly weak color. One, two, three patterns of yellow, plus 1, 3 plus 1. Let's get rid of 1. 2 plus 1, it's almost as if I'm wearing a vestment or a mask. Maybe there's a bead here and 2 beads here.
The shrouded turban.
Yeah, yeah. I did a shroud painting. Some of you that know my paintings, I did a shroud in all blue. And it's about this big on the card. No, I mean it's like that big. And it's scary. So I like olive green for some reason. It's a little dark. That olive is a little bit dark. A lot of olive in Terry's set. Yeah. Whoa. No one said anything about the T word. The T word.
Temperature.
Yeah.
How about a mouth?
No, I never said anything about temperature, did I?
No.
Why start now, right?
Right. I just wanted you to know I didn't say anything about temperature. That's all I wanted to know. What are your questions?
Do you try to keep an openness so that what's in the center touches the edge in terms of value or color? Or...
Do I want the values in the center to touch the edge? I'm more interested in lines that touch the edge, or objects. But if it's strong enough color, then that becomes something that holds the edges. So the edges are, the most important 4 edges are the perimeter of your painting. And I call them an armature. So when lines touch the edge of your painting, that's an armature, and it stabilizes your design. And you know what I learned when I went to Finland? I taught in Finland on the Arctic Circle with doggone reindeer. last year. And you know what those people like to do is paint in vignettes, which is like a cameo, like a circle with no armatures. And they changed my world. I would not, for the life of me, I would not change them. For no amount of money in the world will I tell them, don't make vignettes anymore. Don't put, I wouldn't tell them, you must have armatures on the outside of your paint, because they have a cultural need for a vignette. It's a spiritual statement. Armature and linear structure is what we're talking about, linear structure. I wish you had more questions. Uh-huh.
I think this is the same question, but it's kind of bothering me about those two lines on the right, hanging there. I mean, they're either a thing, if they're hanging there, they seem to be a thing, but if you draw them down off the page, then they're kind of a divider. They're
Yeah.
not a thing in themselves.
These, and you're talking about these two right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, these ski tracks. Yeah, good.
if they went off.
No, that's good. I hope there's even more that bothers us. That's just the beginning.
So you're saying armature and linear structure is pretty critical to a design?
Right, right, and in particular where it reaches the edge of the paper, it creates a real strong structure. But imagine a top where you had a round structure in the middle and a line meeting the top and the bottom of the page and no lines elsewhere. That top would spin in space. So it's nice to have at least 3 armatures. Oh, well, what do I have? I have lots of armatures. I have a kind of a high velocity one coming out of the edge, the corner. I have these two that are providing just a little bit of tension, but not touching the edge. So that's important. This area over here is more active now. Here's a strong armature up and behind my head. Perhaps I'm hanging by a post.
Where was the third? You said the 2 lines, the one at the top, what was
I have one here, I have one here, I have one here, I have some friction here. These don't touch the edge, they just create some friction. This is creating some friction, how close my ear is. So this, what's the word I want? This much space and the interval. This interval is smaller than that interval. So I have some rhythm design there. There's rhythm. And one thing that is kind of bothersome about these is that they're equal. What's the word I just used? Their interval is the same. Isn't that interesting? So there's a rhythm design here. Rhythm. This much space, this much space, this much space. All 3 of those are different. And then I got same, different. So it's a chord, musical chord. That's called rhythm.
Talk about the 4 quadrants, Casey.
Matisse told me about having your 4 quadrants be an individual structure for strength. He also talked a lot about negative space. So I have negative space. Here, negative space is the space that is not the object. Would you say that that's right? So I'm interested in the elements of art, huh? So you thought I was just a whacked out art, color.
Casey?
Color has a design. Yes, please.
At what stage do you consider this now? Is this a finished piece or half finished? Or
Thank you. I never worry about finish.
you never worry about finish?
Right.
Okay.
Edgar Degas said, I wish I had enough money to go back and buy every painting I ever sold.
At the beginning, you quoted Kandinsky saying, when you look at a blank canvas, you're free. About 10 minutes ago, you were standing in the middle and you alluded to the fact that you don't have as many choices as you did. Could you kind of expand on that?
Fill that out. Yeah, he said there's no must in art, for art is free. And when you begin with a blank canvas, you have all the freedom, most freedom you're going to have. When you're halfway done, half your freedom's gone. And the reason is, and when you're near the end, more of your freedom is gone. Unless, of course, you want to scrape the whole thing off and start over. But if I do want to resolve this painting, it has its own requirements. It is telling me so much, and I need to enhance that. I need to not work against it. Remember when I was in the middle of the painting and the expression was bothering me, but I was trying to preserve that expression. I was trying to listen to what the painting was telling me. And I did modify that expression. I got rid of the smirk. Started by getting rid of the mustache. Let's see.
Casey, could you talk about, again, I was thinking about this last night, truth in a painting, or the truth that you find
Truth.
in a certain painting? Yeah.
Yeah. Wolf Kahn said, if you tell the truth in a painting, people will love it, but they won't know why. And the truth is when you're consistent with your own ideas. That's what truth is. I can't tell your ideas. If I stand up here and paint Rembrandt's ideas, I'm not telling the truth. If I depart from my own ideas, that would not be telling the truth. But see, this bottom line is bothering me because it's not straight. You guys can help me figure out what's straight. Cezanne was good with not straight. He always set his easel up crooked. But I need it straight just for this moment. It's still a trapezoid, but that's as good as I can do. Is it a colorist work? What I feel is I still feel that I'm not resolved with his expression. The expression of this part of his face is not resolved. But I don't feel a compelling need to finish that.
Did you use the eggplant anyplace other than the top left?
No, but it's a violet color. Yeah. And I have a particularly dark red here that I went over with blue. And I have this really intense, this is that violet we were talking about. I wanted to keep the darks up here. The middle's in here and the light's down here. And that's not a rule, but it's the way the structure was developing. And I decided that because my value story was working for me. Does the value story on this work within normal limits? So because the value story was adequate, I decided not to change that. Because I do feel value is kind of important. He's turning to look. Isn't that right? And he's looking from a point of view. And he's saying, I wish you would consider color as a tool. I don't know how we are with time. I'd love to hear more questions.
There's something of interest to me. I kept saying, why doesn't he put it in a mouth? How come he doesn't put it in the mouth?
Yeah.
On the painting, I can hardly see it, and on the video, it's there.
Oh, there's a mouth present. Yeah, because the values are being messed up by the camera.
I hardly see it here.
Yeah,
I absolutely find it there.
Yeah, it's because the values of the camera are messing it up, yeah, that's interesting. I like that.
Maybe it's messing it up, or maybe it's clarifying.
It's just another one of those weird metaphysical things. Yeah, it seems to be positioned in the right place. So, no, I don't feel a strong need to go in and make a mouth. My mouth is often covered by my mustache.
This is a...
Also, I don't like, I cut my tongue out when I started in as an artist, I had to cut my tongue out. Yeah.
This is a strange observation, but for some reason, I can't see the one on the easel as well as the video projector, but I keep seeing Teddy Roosevelt.
It's the eyes, the glasses. His glasses
TR.
are so prominent.
Yeah.
But on the easel.
Maybe I ought to put those little pince nez glasses on there
but
and
on
charge up the
easel,
hill.
It's Willie Nelson.
It's like our own Rorschach design.
Did you talk in your workshop about framing?
No, I did not. No.
I'm curious, do you frame with the mat or without a mat?
I do both.
Both?
Mostly when I'm going without a mat, it's to ship it. But like the ones that went home with one of my students yesterday, those I told her to mat them, and I described how she ought to mat them.
Yeah.
Where's the desk light? You tell me. That's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Casey, I have a question about when you taped off the top of the head and you want to leave that little tension there.
Right.
Aren't you worried about when you frame it then to take off?
Yeah, we frame our own paintings, but yeah, very good point. And you gotta keep watchful eye on that painter, you know, I mean that framer, because you want that space to be just right. Yeah, and I work all the way to the edge of the painting, and it's this last 1/16 of an inch is critical in my painting design.
Well, then what do you do if the rabbit overlaps? I mean, or do you float it? Do
You
float
may,
it?
or you may even bring the mat away from it, just a little. You may have a smaller mat, and you may even actually put the mat right on the painting without the space. So there are different, I don't know, you just have to play with it. But you're right, that's a really good question, you gotta be concerned about it. Yeah.
You're about 4 minutes.
Well, I'm as good as done. Thank you for your very kind attention.